This topic is going to compare the education system under the influence of two different cultures, which are England and China. We are all humans, but we do not have the same culture, and because of that, the difference between our cultural background will affect the way how individual societies works and the education system under the current situation. Education forms the basis of a country, and they can resolve the conflict of our society and minimize the gap between groups and by groups. I mean that the gap, gender, and most importantly, economic status. Students will take on the responsibilities for the country and their society because they are capable to make a change. And let's take a look at different education system for different cultures to explore the chemical reactions that they can lead to.
British education is very different to the Chinese one. It is led by the teachers, but the students still play an active role. The tasks and the ideas contributed by the students are always prioritized. Students need to tell the teachers what they want. It's not a one-sided process where the teachers keep on assigning tasks for them, which is very different from China. This is very self-reflecting, as you are constantly learning how to express your ideas. And from that process, more refined ideas lead to a better standard of art created. It is a very complicated, yet a special practice that offers students speaking out. As a teacher, we want students to ask a question, to ask why, because this interaction can lead to the students thinking. The purpose of the British education is to help the students to make a living in the future so that they can find a job, which is again completely different from China. As an art teacher for art students, I realize the main idea is to find a job, work in a studio, which is a luxury to them because you enjoy creating the art in a safe environment. However, it's the balance of doing something you like and maintaining a living, which is difficult to achieve at times. When students speak out, the interaction between us and them leads to a positive impact on both the teachers and the students involved in the process. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that we change our way of teaching because we do have a syllabus to follow. However, if we relate this to international students, for example, Chinese students, since we have different cultural backgrounds, they might feel restrained, but I still hope that they will be willing to ask more questions, even if it is a very tiny problem.
From my teaching experience in China, I would say comparing like the culture between Chinese and British, Chinese culture have a tendency of like the student will always respect the teacher, and we have a saying where it's whenever a teacher tells the student to do, they will always obey the teacher. Which after I came here, I would find that the British style is more different because it's more relaxing and the interaction between the teachers and the students are more informal. However, in here, the teachers will let the students to do whatever they want, and there are resources provided. The teachers are also acting more like a support, but not a leader, because a lot of them are student-led courseworks or projects. While in China, it's more like the teacher will be the main leader and they'll instruct what the student should do. And in China, the universities, they do have like high standards, and that means when the students enroll into a university, or those that are being accepted, they will be fully equipped and are capable to finish the tasks assigned to them. And because it is hard to get into a proper university, that means the students that are graduated from the universities will have a higher ability to achieve better in their future jobs. However, as a fine art teacher or like a student, I do understand that there isn't a lot of opportunities within the country to do what you want. So it isn't necessary for a fine art student to become or to be able to work as like an artist, and they might eventually become something different, such as like an accountant, or maybe something in business, or maybe something even scientific. But in summary, I would think the Chinese education, we still have a lot of room to improve, and there is something from the British education system that is worth learning. For example, like the creativity and the freedom that they provide the student, also the resources. And I would believe that would help us to make a even bigger improvement, and to just like increase the standard of like our fine art like levels within our country.
I would like to say from my perspective, what interests me is not just the language barrier, and is also not just a communication problem between the students and our tutors. It is actually the conflict between the two different cultures. This isn't about right or wrong, but it is the point of view. So for my point, my angle is like the different angle to see something, and different angle to watching something, and watching the different thinking of different cultures. As an international student, I have various education backgrounds, and the difference between the cultures will assist in how I view the issues. So my question is about how should an institute itself view with their international students in a different way. I mean that as local cultures, like the local education system. So use that angle and how to see the international student and in a different way to thinking, and thinking about how to teaching, and how to translate the different teaching ways, because we are totally different culture.